That winter, a Japanese fisheries agency patrol boat came into Hamilton Harbor. Despite the worldwide ban on commercial whaling, the Japanese allocate themselves an annual quota to kill several hundred minke whales in the name of science. Some Japanese scientists believe that the minke whale are eating too many fish. It is not the remaining whales that are wiping out the fish. It is unregulated industrial fishing that feeds our growing human population.
Good evening, everyone. It's Friday, January 11th. I'm Diane Brewer, and thanks for joining us tonight. Leading our stories, it could happen here, warn anti-whaling protesters, as a small but vociferous group of them gathered at the flagpole in Hamilton to heighten awareness of the threat that Japanese whaling and overfishing poses to the island's oceans. Gary Moreno has the story.
What they lacked in numbers, they certainly made up for in commitment, as they sought to drive home the message to the crew of the Japanese fisheries patrol boat moored in Hamilton Harbor that whaling, even for so-called scientific reasons, was unacceptable. Spokesperson for the group, naturalist Andrew Stevenson, telling us the purpose of the protest was to heighten awareness of how much of a threat the activities of the Japanese authorities posed to the ecology of the world's oceans.
They kill 1,000 whales a year. They've killed 25,000 whales since 1986 under the pretext of scientific research. And believe it, they can do it here if they want to. There's nothing to stop them. There's a loophole in the International Whaling Commission's regulations that say if you do scientific research, you can kill whales, even if that's 1,000 a year.
In the end, Mr. Stevenson and his group sought to present the crew with a figurine of a humpback whale as a token of appreciation for Japan's not taking any humpback whales during that country's annual hunt this year. However, the gift was refused by the Japanese captain, and it was left for Mr. Stevenson's daughter to retrieve what was also meant as a token of friendship. Gary Moreno, reporting for the Bermuda Broadcasting News.
Meanwhile, the Japanese government is facing the possibility of a hefty fine for overfishing bluefin tuna in Australian waters, despite the presence there of a Japanese fisheries patrol boat like this one to ensure Japan's fishermen did not harvest more than their allotted quota of the endangered species.
This highlights the tragedy of the commons. The oceans are not governed by any single nation. It is common property, shared by all. But individuals often take more out of the sea than is sustainable. They obtain a private gain by acting selfishly, but at a cost to the rest of society. Even if there were strict controls, who would enforce them? There is no policing outside of a country's territorial waters. Greenpeace and Sea Shepherd are fighting the whalers, illegal longliners, drift net trawlers and bottom trawlers. A lot of people view Sea Shepherd as a pirate organization breaking international laws.
Others view Sea Shepherds as heroes for doing something about those who rob us kids of our natural inheritance. Maybe it takes a pirate to catch a pirate. Maybe not all pirates are bad pirates. Meanwhile, Dad continued his research.
In 2009, we managed to get over 152 individual fluke IDs, more than all the fluke IDs ever obtained in Bermuda. So far, we have matched about half of those to previous sightings. Some unexpected migration patterns are starting to show. Many humpbacks have been resighted in Bermuda, a sign that the humpbacks are stopping in Bermuda regularly. I also started using a hydrophone to listen for the whales, just as Frank Watlington did decades earlier. We heard whales singing a lot of the time on the crown of Challenger Bank. Are the humpbacks aggregating on these seamounts into larger social groups to protect their calves from orcas before continuing their migration? In the spring of 2009, 6 humpbacks were satellite tagged in the Caribbean. One of these female whales, with a young calf, swam to the west of Bermuda and then stopped for some days to our northwest before swimming back down towards Bermuda in the opposite direction to her migration. Had she heard a whale singing and come back to join it before traveling northwards in a protective unit? we still don't know that much about the humpback whales.